Will, thank you so much for joining us today to discuss your journey with IBD, man. I'm so happy that you're here. Thanks for being here.
Oh, thank you, Dane, for hosting me, and happy to be here. It's been an amazing journey, and I'm looking forward to sharing what I've gone through and what I've learned. Just really happy for everything that's happened.
Thank you, Will. Thank you so much. So, first off, can you let everyone know what was your diagnosis, how long ago, and also where you're from?
I'm currently from Cape Town, South Africa. I know there's a lot of people on the program which is not from this side of the world, but yeah, I was diagnosed in 2017 with Crohn's disease. And at that stage of my life, I was just within varsity. And you don't think of your health, you just think of partying and studying and finish off everything like that. At that stage of diagnosis, I was within the hospital and they said to me, listen, yeah, you're going to have to look after yourself, maybe do some biologics, put me on some heavy prednisone, things like that. And I was like, no, I don't want to go on really heavy biologics like that. And then I more or less forgot about it. They gave me a lot of meds and I just went on with it. And then the pain just kept on coming back and creeping back, the cramps and the loose stools and the urgencies through the evenings and things like that. And as the years goes on, I had one more flare again. That was in 2019. Back in the hospital, same doctor said to me, listen, yeah, same issue. We picked up a lot of inflammation in your upper GI tract and also didn't think about that anymore. And my girlfriend, now wife, she told me then, I think it's time that you start to have a look at your health and to really take charge of it. And then in 2021, 2022, roughly that time, I started focusing a lot more on like what I can do to improve my health. And I think the biggest factor that I incorporated in my health was fasting. I
Mm-hmm.
didn't really change much of my diet, so I didn't look at all the main things of like eliminating, for example, gluten and dairy and seed oils and those things. It was mainly just the fasting. And then for 2 years, Dane, believe it or not, I didn't have a lot of symptoms due to the fasting, but there was still heavy inflammation going on in my gut. Didn't know about fungal, mold,
Yeah.
parasites, didn't know anything of that in my gut microbiome.
What was your
And
Calprotectin testing?
back then it was still like very high, 600, 700,
Yeah.
over 1,000. But that stage of my life, I didn't know even what I was looking at, and that no one interpreted to me what's going on.
Yeah.
And then last year, 2023, April, May, we came back from honeymoon. And it wasn't a month after I came back from honeymoon, I started getting cold sweats and started feeling very nauseous. And I was even on a meeting with some of my colleagues, and I just said to them, I need to go to the emergency room. I jumped off, booked myself into the emergency, started vomiting, like it was just going crazy. Calprotectant was 2,500 to 2,600 at that stage. They booked me in a hospital. Yeah, they said to me, listen, yeah, they did a few scans, they did a colonoscopy, gastroscopy. They couldn't find anything. I'm like, what's going on? That doesn't make sense. And they put me on meds. A month goes by, I'm still in pain. Like I can feel there's pain, but they just said like it's just maybe a stomach bug because I was in Bali for honeymoon. Month goes by, started vomiting again, cold sweats again. I said to her, no, there's definitely something like it's not a stomach bug or anything like that. Booked myself again into the emergency room, and then one of the surgeons started to get to acquainted with. He said to me, listen, yeah, okay, he's going to put me into a tunnel where they do a full body scan. And I think they call it a CT scan.
Yeah.
And did a CT scan. And then when they saw my bowel, the last section of my ileum, or which they call it the ileum, but the small intestine, there was a big section that was inflamed and like swollen. According to their analysis, they said it was a fistula. And on that day, he said to me, listen, I'm not going to operate on you. I'm going to transfer you to one of the best gastrosurgeons in our country here in Cape Town. Transferred me over to that hospital. And within 2 weeks, they said to me, listen, we're going to operate on you. And I had to make peace with that, even though I said to them, like, I feel like I don't want to do it, but they said to me, like, this is what they see, and they definitely prefer they do this. And they operated on me last year, June, the 19th of June. It was rough healing from that. They incisioned me straight down the middle. They called it ileolectomy. It's where they remove,
Yeah.
ileocolectomy is where they remove the ileum and a small piece of your colon as well. And then right after that procedure, I went on a 2-month healing journey on obviously recovering from that procedure. And then this is where the real big challenge started, is where they suggested to me that I should go on Humira and really strong biologics to keep Crohn's down. And one thing that I resonated with Armin is that they try to give you just a band-aid for the problem, but that's not the root cause of why my inflammation is so high. My inflammation was still skyrocketing even though they already removed a section of my intestine. I was on a journey of trying to figure out how can I really get, let's say, the solution for this problem, but not go on biologics, but do it the functional medicine, the natural way. And that's actually where I came across your program, Dane. And I saw the reviews on YouTube and I was like, no, man, this is not Christmas in July.
You thought it was too good to be true.
I was
All
like,
the
this
stories.
is Christmas in July. It can't be. It can't be.
And it's kind of ironic that you're doing one of those conversations now.
Yeah, I must say it's a full circle moment that we're having now to see myself in this conversation. And I thought to myself, no, is this a natural way of actually like healing yourself long term? I was like, everybody's like, yeah, I'm now from a 10-year struggle journey. Now I'm like 3 years like pain free. The other review was like 5 years pain free. You mentioned that you're like 15, 20 years pain free. I'm like, wow,
yeah, 2 centuries.
This is next level. This is next level. I didn't second guess that. I felt like that was put on my path for a reason.
Yep.
And at that stage, I didn't have the finances for it because in Rand, I mean, you know, the Rand is 20 times worse than the dollar. So
currency exchange is a big problem. Yeah. South Africa, and, Australia, Canada, we see this. Yeah, it's tough.
Fortunately enough, I did more or less like a GoFundMe within the friends network and family network from myself.
Wow.
And managed to get the funds for the program and the first initial rounds of supplements. And yeah, and then my journey started on your program. And Dane, was it a insane journey? And yeah, probably one of the best experiences I've had in terms of my health. So,
wow.
Yeah.
Now, Will, let's start. So you started the program over 6 months ago, 6.5, 7 months ago at the beginning of the year. It's now end of July. And you were having, after everything you did, you'd done fast, you tried some stuff on your own, and you got some good results with that over the years.
Yeah.
So at this time, you were only having 1 to 3 bowel movements when you came in, but you were having a large amount of mucus, a massive amount of urgency, like the worst urgency you could have. Lots of loose stool, lots of undigested food in the stool, lots of gas, moderate cramping and pain, sometimes waking up in the night to have a bowel movement. That's a good understanding. And then you were maybe about 10 pounds underweight with okay energy.
Exactly. Spot on. That's exactly most of the things I went through. Yep. 100% agree.
And what are your symptoms now?
Probably 180 degree from that. So 1 or 2 bowel movements a day, but perfect. I mean, if you go look at the bird stool poo chart, I mean, it's a number 3 or a 4, which is the most perfect one you can get.
Put in the dictionary, right? That's the ideal bowel movement. Yeah.
Undigested food is like a 1 out of 10 in terms of like how good it is. Like it's a 10 out of 10 in good and a 1 out of 10 in bad. So it's really
no
good.
Undigested food, no cramping and pain, no mucus.
Cramping and pain, no. Mucus is like 5%.
0.5 out of 10. You might notice a little something every once in a while. No mucus and normal gas, no cramping and pain, and no diarrhea anymore, no loose stool, and sleeping through the night?
Yep, sleeping straight through the night, not waking up with urgency or anything like that. Yeah.
And how much weight have you gained since joining the program?
I gained in the past 7 months, I gained more or less 4 or 5 kilograms. Yeah,
so about 10 pounds.
10 pounds. Yeah.
And are you at a normal, good, healthy weight now that you want to be at?
Yeah, this is more or less the weight. I still want to push for at least 1 more kilogram, but that I would think I would get from the CrossFit that I'm doing. Trying to pick up some more muscle. Yes.
Wow. So, and this is a really big one for people listening. Your Calprotectant beforehand was a 2,600, close to 3,000, right around there. Very, very high. Yeah. And what did your Calprotectant drop down to?
The lowest we've tested now was about 38. So,
38 from 3,000.
Yeah.
And you did this
it's amazing.
With no medications. You did this from home in South Africa, Cape Town. No medications from your house.
No medications. The crazy thing is, Dane, is the GI map I took before starting the last big stretch of the program with the detoxing protocols, my Calprotectant. Now I was doing the elemental shake, changed my diet, did holistic things to help me improve, to set myself up for success. Just before we started that detoxing, it just shows you how much stuff is still within you. Just before starting that, the GI map came back and I had a 540 Calprotectant. 2 months into the detoxing, 38 Calprotectant now.
Wow.
Game
so
changing.
2,600, 548, 38. And
Yeah.
that was the big thing. I think one of the big things that really helped you was that detox. Like you were saying about the sauna. Tell everyone about your experience because one of the things Coach Armand said is you're plugged up, you've got so many toxins in you, you need to get infrared sauna. What was that like for you?
Yeah, so we were about 2 months into the detoxing and I was following protocol. And the amazing thing about that is as I'm learning through like what I'm taking in, what's the goal for each and every element that I'm using part of this detoxing protocol, you're starting to experiencing certain reactions. If you're going too fast or too slow, and you can more or less gauge how you go
How you
about.
doing?
When I experienced my first herc reaction, I started getting a lot of brain fog and I felt a little bit drunk. And then Armin was telling me, listen, yeah, my man, you need to get into a sauna to get all of that bad stuff out of your system. And obviously your skin is the biggest organ to get rid of these things. And I just said to my wife, listen, yeah, I'm going to the closest sauna I can find, infrared one. And I booked the session. I was on in that sauna 40 minutes later. That evening, even the following morning, I woke up, I felt like a new person. It felt like someone injected like 20 Red Bulls inside of me. I'm ready for a new stretch.
Awesome.
That's amazing.
Will, I love it. And everyone who's listening to Will's story realized that his plan was customized to him. This was done over months and months of time. Many of us might not be ready for a sauna, so don't think it's just a magic thing you're going to do. You have to be ready. Coach Armand had felt that he was ready to try that and go in to make that result. And also, Will made that decision to say he was going to go crowdfund to join because the currency exchange is so bad to the US dollar in South Africa. Make sure you're absolutely confident this is the right choice for you. We don't want you to spend your rent money joining the program. We want integrity. We want good energy coming in. And so when someone does decide to crowdfund, I mean, that to us is like, okay, game on. We're going to do everything in our power. There's a lot at stake here. This person has put a lot of faith in us. We're going to do everything in our power to teach you, to run it and do it. Coach Armand, that being said, with that kind of, hey, families are putting together money, what gave you confidence on helping Will get that success? What do you think is some keys that helped him be a person who came in and got what he wanted out of this and got massive success?
Great question. I think Will was definitely in a situation, being in South Africa, getting product, obtaining certain tools is obviously harder logistically and geographically. That obviously does have a contributing effect. I think Will was extremely resourceful. Given our circumstances, he made the money stretch. And also additionally, we also had to leverage off local tools that we could obtain within South Africa and always having to obtain everything from the States or anywhere else. And I think Will was extremely resourceful in making that proactive attempt to make that work. And ultimately, I think for anyone watching this who is abroad, realize that it's definitely possible. You don't have to be in the US, you don't have to be in specific European countries to find success. And if you are on a budget, we can always work around that. And if you are proactive, if you are resourceful, much like Will was, a lot can happen.
I'll echo that too. I think, Will, what I'm hearing from you, what gave you that great success is your determination, your willingness to know what you wanted. Biologics are for a lot of us. They're really good for a lot of us, but you had it in your mind. You said, there's a root issue of why I'm sick. I'm going to go after it. I don't have any experience of this. I don't want just the symptom relief. I want to become self-empowered. You did the training, you did the work, you really listened, you really tried, you worked in depth with your coach, kept the positive mindset, and massive success. Normal lab work, no symptoms. Let me ask you this, how quickly in the program did you start to see symptom relief?
That was probably the first 3 months. Yeah, first 2 to 3 months. Yeah, I definitely saw not almost a 180-degree turn, but in my general bowel movements and symptoms, cramp symptoms, that just significantly went down. All the cramping. I was just changing my whole food regime, incorporating the elemental shake every day over lunchtime. That was a game changer for me as well.
So it was roughly about a month you started doing stuff.
And I think after a month,
after a month we started, I'm seeing that in your patient portal as well, or your notes, your client notes here, that it was about a month we started seeing things really start to tick down very nicely. And I know you've mentioned a bunch of stuff already that you're like, man, this really helped me out. This sauna being one of those things, and then draining, like being able to get the toxins out of you, right? Environmental toxins, heavy metals, endotoxins, mycotoxins out of your body. Is there anything you would like to mention to someone who's listening, resonating your story about what would be your 2 cents or a piece of advice to someone who's suffering on the other end of this, much like you were when you were watching these stories? Was there anything you would like to say to that person out there?
Yeah, I definitely just want to say basically 2 things. Firstly is, if your heart tells you you need to do this program, do it. Don't think twice about it. The funding and all the rest will follow. Family and friends will stick with you to try and get you onto this program, and there's more than enough testimony about how well this program is. And I'm a firm believer now of this program as well. And the second thing is be open-minded. There is certain things that everyone thinks they know of how to eat and what to do with detoxing and this, and to why drink this, why drink that. But that's one thing I think was my key success in this journey as well, is be open-minded. So I said to myself, I'm coming into this program as if I know nothing. I'm going through this journey. We're building my own regime to follow for long-term success. And I mean, I can't be more happier in a nutshell. And the last thing is do your infrared sauna. It's a game changer, getting rid of all the endotoxins.